I straight put it down and I'm repping the brown. And fuck all the haters that's running them out. They ain't about shit, they just love talking loud. Cause they know I'm a hoodstar, they're chasing the clout. I brush it away and I stick to my route. I'm moving on up and fuck all of the doubts. A hoodstar, a G, and I'm repping it proud. A hoodstar, a G, and I'm repping it proud. Straight for the raza, so bump it out loud. I straight put it down and I'm repping the brown. And fuck all the haters that's running them out. Cause they ain't about shit, they just love talking loud. They know I'm a hoodstar, they're chasing the clout. I brush it away and I stick to my route. I'm moving on up and fuck all of the doubts. A hoodstar, a G, and I'm repping it proud. Straight for the raza, so let it bump loud.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment.
What up, G-Life? This right here is LA County, Los Angeles. West LA to be exact, by the downtown district, Koreatown and all of that. And right here is pretty notorious. This is the area close to Hollywood, MacArthur Park, Pico Union. Located to where everybody considers it to be, the war zone, where there's a bunch of neighborhoods jam-packed in one area. Neighborhoods as big as like MS, 18, Clanton, Playboys, and etc. So right here, it gets on and cracking on me. You could already imagine right here is treacherous. It ain't no joke, you know what I mean? There's about more than 30 neighborhoods just jam-packed within this, small district. So you're going to get a lot of chaos and mayhem, you know what I mean, throughout this area. And the reason why we're here is because this is home to Mr. Silent. Mr. Silent is a Chicano rapper that once belonged to High Power. But now he's independent now. He is working on some new projects that I was seeing with Mr. Criminal and the Crime Family. Now, I'm not sure if he's signing to Mr. Criminal's label or whatnot. I do know that when they were both in High Power, they both collabed on several CDs, Soldiers of the 213, which I have those albums. They're really, really, really good albums. I do recommend them. That's some straight West Coast gangbanging sounding sound, you know what I mean? The beats were phenomenal on that one, and they were on point. So they did have good chemistry together. I know that when they were both in High Power, they had a good relationship and all of that. I know that Mr. Silent kind of just was doing the family thing and whatnot, but now, he's working on some new material. So he was a member out of High Power, who had the reason why I wanted to talk about Mr. Silent right here is because his style of rapping is just different. He brings the conspiracy, supernatural, demonic, anything that has to do with that realm of witchcraft and exorcisms and all of that. That's his kind of rapping skills. Like, that's what he likes to rap about. That's what he touches on. It's more on the darker side of life, is what he raps about. That's his style, and I dig it. I dig it because it's different. You know what I mean? It's different. It's not like the typical, Chicano sound that people would expect him to be rapping about. The same old, same old. He actually brings something different, right? It's like a fresh breath. You know what I mean? Something different, unique. And I think that's what stood out with his lyrics, and the reason why Mr. Capone had signed him, because he had met Mr. Capone through another rapper named Lucky. Lucky being from Orange County. Mr. Silent and him were cool, and he was a rapper already. Dropped the song together. He showed it to Mr. Capone. Mr. Capone digged it and told homie to jump on board. And that's how he got introduced to High Power and how it all went from there. After that, him and Mr. Criminal seemed to have hit it off, pretty good, and worked on several projects together. You know what I mean? He had a pretty good run when it comes to the Chicano rap game, and right here in West LA is where he was brought up. This is where he was born and raised, and ran around with his camaradas and getting into mischiefs and all of that, because Mr. Silent is a member of the Westside Alley Boys gang. Now, the Westside Alley Boys gang is located right here, close to Koreatown is where you can find them. Has been already right here since the 80s is when they were established, right here. Now, I do know that there's a different Alley Boys gang that's located in Orange County, a large, old school neighborhood that's, really well known. Now, I don't know if they have any affiliation to that neighborhood, because I was told that, one of their homies had moved over here and started it, but then I was told that there was no affiliation. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if they have any connection to the ones in Orange County, but the ones right here in West Los Angeles, right at Westside, Alley Boys Gang, ABS. I do know that the ones in Orange County sometimes write it like that, but it tends to see hit up more ABR. You know what I mean? Now, the ones right here in West Los Angeles is located right there on Wilton Place and Olympic. So Wilton Place to Olympic, and from Olympic, I would have to say it extends all the way to Wilshire Boulevard, and from Wilshire Boulevard, I would have to say it extends all the way to Western. So everything that's in the middle, which is 7th, 8th, San Martin Street, 9th, Manhattan Place, St. Andrews, all of that is what's considered their neighborhood, which is, a decent sized portion of turf, you know what I mean? Mostly on 8th is where you can find them, throughout those alleys is, where they would hang out. Also by the high school, is also, a kicking spot of theirs that they used to, hang around and everything like that. Like I said, they were never really a large neighborhood, and you tend not to hear about them as much as you do these other neighborhoods, and due to the fact that right here is just jam-packed full of so many neighborhoods that are like well known, that's the reason why you don't hear about them as much, because you have them really close, because their neighbors are literally right there is MS, the home ground for MS, where it originated from, where it started. Then you have 18 where it originated, and you have Clanton where it originated. Mid-City Stoners is close to there as well. You have neighborhoods like that and Playboys and stuff like that. That's why you don't hear them as much as, because of those other neighborhoods. People tend to gravitate more to those neighborhoods and what they do. You know what I mean? Because of history and all the media attention that they get. But don't get it twisted. That don't mean nothing. These guys do handle their business. You do see them up and they with the business, you know what I mean? That's how it is, and this is the neighborhood in which Mr. Silent is from. Who he puts it down for. As a matter of fact, one of his albums is named Alley Boy. In that album, he has a song called Alley Boys, where he's dedicating it to his neighborhood. It's a pretty famous jam, you know what I mean? He gets down, but that's what I mean. He definitely, represents for his right there, and he came out of the gutter, you know what I mean? He made something positive out of negative, because like I said, right here it's chaotic, to even make it out is a miracle, and and to succeed and drop in multiple albums, and to make it out, it's a blessing in his behalf, you know what I mean? But he definitely he definitely knows what the struggle is and everything like that. That's why his music comes out. You could feel it. It doesn't seem like it's fake. Because he knows what he's talking about. But that's what's up with the Alley Boys gang right here and Mr. Silent. But as in his music career. Now, Mr. Silent was a member of High Power throughout his whole entire career. That's who he dropped his CDs with and who he stayed with until recently. Now he's independent. Maybe there might be a chance that he might hook up with Mr. Criminal's label. That's yet to be seen. But I do know that they're, I think, working on some projects. I had seen that they were working on some projects together. Now, High Power is a label that's just jam-packed full of a bunch of artists. And, when you have it, jam-packed full of artists like that, some artists tend to not as shine as bright as others, I guess you could say. Some of them don't really have like their own CDs. They'll just be like in a bunch of different collabing albums. And then some will maybe have one CD. But Mr. Silent actually had a pretty good run with High Power because he dropped multiple albums with them, that were just his albums. And also, one where him and Mr. Criminal together, where it's just them two. They dropped a few of those, and those albums are really, really good. So Mr. Silent dropped his first album in 2003, which was Silent Night. That was with High Power. which falls under Thumb Street Records. Then he dropped his second album in 2005, which was Slipping Into Darkness. I actually own that album. It's a really, really good album. I do recommend that one. Then you have the album he released in 2007, which was The Alley Boy. That was another pretty gangster album. You know what I mean? And then you had Soldiers of the 213, part 1, 2, and 3. All of them are good. You know what I mean? And then you have the Greatest Hits. So those are the albums in which he dropped, and they're all under High Power. You know, now his last project that he had worked on was in 2010. So it's been a cool minute since he released something. Like I said, he was doing his own thing, you know, the family thing and everything like that. That's why he kind of just drifted away from that whole scene and all of that. But as of recently, he's been uploading, you know, a few freestyles and stuff like that, and saying that he's got some stuff going on with Mr. Criminal that he's working on. So maybe a collabing album, which would actually be really, really good, because those two together in the studio make magic, bro. I have those albums. I know what I'm talking about. Some of the best gang-banging West Coast type vibe to it. You know what I mean? It's some real street shit. I dig those albums. You know, it was money well spent, in my opinion. So Mr. Silent did have a good career with High Power. You know, dropping hits. Like tracks that I recommend is Soldiers of the 213 for sure. That rola is dope as hell. That beat and just the vibe of it's on some gangster shit. Another track of his that I recommend is the song Back Down. I just like the hook and what he's talking about right there. Another one that I recommend is Possession, only because of the unique storytelling that it has in it. Like I said, his form of rapping is just different. You know, he talks about the supernatural, the demonic, the conspiracy theories, like, you know, Illuminatis and all of that. You know what I mean? It's just a different type of rap, but with a gangster feel to it. You know what I mean? So it's unique in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's not like the typical, like, oh, he's gonna be rapping about guns, drugs, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he brings something different to the table, and that's one thing that has stood out about his music to me, and why, you know, I listen to it and why I peep him out. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think you guys will find it, you know, pretty trippy. Well, right now you guys will get pretty much a good idea of what he spits, you know, when I react to the track. But yeah, man, peep out his albums, you know. I'm pretty sure he gets, you know, the royalties and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And yeah, and stay tuned to, you know, his new CDs that he's going to be dropping. You can get his CDs like anywhere you can get them, like in Amazon and all of that. You could cop them right there. They're good stuff. Now, I don't own his first album. That's probably the only album I don't own. So I can't say if that one's good, but I do own the rest of them, and I could tell you that it was money well spent. You know what I mean? Now, if I could recommend any of the albums, I would recommend for sure Soldiers of the 213 Part 1 and Slipping Into Darkness are the albums that I do recommend. Those are the ones that I just, you know, I dig. You know, there's a few jams in there that, you know, they be jamming. But yeah, that's Mr. Silent right there. Used to be a member of High Power, and, you know, holding it down, you know, straight out of West LA, out of the Alley Boys gang, Westside Alley Boys, and continue to represent right there for his. So cop out his music, you know, go help out a homie, and, you know, peep out the game. And for people to get an idea of, you know, his rapping styles and everything like that, here's one of the tracks that I was talking about, Possession. That way people could get an idea and a feel of what he brings to the table. Like I said, it's different.
Take me out. What you gonna do? I got a demon in my soul that awakens my dreams. Many sleepless nights, I can hear the spirit scream as it rattles my mind. I'm feeling lost at times. I unlocked a dimension that I was soon to find. Many spirits drifting in the Ouija board that I played. I discovered a monster that was locked away. I brought this ghost to life with many questions I asked, without knowing later on that I was gonna feel the wrath. Didn't believe my mama was playing tricks on me, but then I knew it was real when I saw the board bleed. Then the air got cold and my body got numb. I felt a chill up my spine. I thought my life was done. Then I heard the evil laugh as it spoke to me. Then it spelled out my name as I was frozen in place. I felt a blow to my soul. I got possessed by a demon. Let the story unfold. Possession. Am I a ghost or alive? Am I a demon with his plans terrorizing some lives? Possession. I have opened the gates. You see the
something just
spirits and
different.
presence of what lies in the wakes. Possession. Am I a ghost or alive? Am I a demon with his plans terrorizing some lives? Possession. I have opened the gate. You see the spirits and presence of what lies in the wakes. Later on that night, couldn't sleep for shit. Shadows drifting by my windows, had my fully loaded clip. Could it be my enemy or just a ghost passing by? What the fuck is going on? I keep hearing these evil cries. Night stalking in the morning, 3 o'clock to be exact. My lady found me outside, holding my shovel in a strap. As she shook me, then slapped me, then snapped me out of my trance. Could it remember what happened? Had I had done the devil's dance? Later on that day, 5 o'clock, breaking news, they found a body mangled and buried up in the lagoon. I had some blood on my hands, I had the stench of death. I was feeling cold, cause my body was wet. Now I'm feeling invincible, like a lethal individual. My brain is transformed to a mind that's so cynical. I sense him inside me, he's no longer at rest. Now I once again believe that I'm possessed.
Telling the story he's telling is just a trip. You know what I mean?
With his plans terrorizing some lives. Possession. I have opened the gate.
You know, this is the type he brings. There's kind of vibe to his music.
Possession. Am I a ghost or alive? Am I a demon with his plans terrorizing some lives? Possession. I have opened the gate. You see the spirits and presence of what lies in the way. Now I have seen the exorcist shit many a times. Linda Blair ain't got nothing on this demon of mine. Tries to take over my mind, my body and soul, but I'm as strong as they come. There ain't no bitch, so let's roll. Can't lose control of this deadly situation. Now I'm deep in thought, what they call contemplation. Pulled down the board that started it all. I'm guaranteeing the spirit is soon gonna fall. Then I ask the question, who's here with me? The lights flickered and shattered as the walls begin to bleed. Then the dark image came floating my way. They said your time is up, it's no longer a game. It tried to creep back inside, I wouldn't let it come in. It's Mr. Silent versus shit. Guess who's gonna win? He finally did give up, he had vanished the scene. Then the Ouija spelled out, I'll see you in your dream. Possession. Am I a ghost or a...
See, the story, that's one thing he has. The storytelling, he always sticks to his story. You know, when he's rapping, is one of the things I find phenomenal. And like I said, it's something different that he raps about. You know, so if you want to hear something different, and if you don't mind the supernatural and conspiracies and all that, you'll definitely peep out his music and like his flow. So check him out. Check out his albums. He definitely has talent, you know, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Mr. Silent gets down, straight out of West LA, out the alley boys. And, yeah, peep out his albums, man.